the week over. I am glad Joe was right. Just go with that.
Okay, it's on whenever you are.
Well, we're a few minutes early, but I think we'll be safe to go ahead and get started with our official work session, which is prior to our formal board session. So we're going to turn it over to Todd and Company. He said Dennis Weber's doing the presentation for the ODOT update.
Appreciate it. Good morning. Yeah, I'm Todd Audette, ODOT District Deputy Director, and I've got Dennis Charvette. He's my construction engineer. His name's up there. Teresa Pollock, Public Information, and Greg Glover. He's our transportation manager for Seneca County. Real quick update on what's going on. About 15 minutes, unless there's a lot of questions. I have some information I got from Jerry Ackenbauer about the 53 initiative. Some information might help support that. A lot of stuff going on, obviously west of here. Back in September 2013, the $1 billion was made available through additional bonding of the Turnpike. $70 million went to the Turnpike for their capital preservation program. The $930 went to support ODOT construction projects that were in the pipeline, and if we didn't get the funding, would have fallen or been pushed out to at least 2027 in our district or further out, if ever. We had 7 to 14 projects approved, and this year alone, after the fiscal year, 1 July, starting the new fiscal year, we should have around $300 million worth of construction in our district as a result of the Ohio Turnpike Infrastructure Commission initiative. It was a top priority of the governor, obviously. All the struggle trying to figure out how to leverage the value in the Turnpike. And in the end, it was additional bonding, and it's working out great for all the northern half of the state. In particular, in our district, 75 widening from Hancock County all the way to the Michigan line. That's been a long time in the planning. Like I said, without this money, we wouldn't see the widening until 2027, if ever. It was obvious that it needed to be widened because of all the freight opportunities between Findlay and Toledo and points beyond up in Detroit. So the construction, the first project should start, we got word on the way here, first week in June.
Yep.
We'll do a groundbreaking, and we'll have 6 lanes to 75. We're gonna start reconstruction in downtown Toledo from Door to Central. Denny was one of the brand new EITs when they were just wrapping that up 30-some years ago. Now he gets to see it get reconstructed. Then we were benefactors, and these aren't Turnpike projects, the 475, 23 safety improvement project. We have a couple of what they call weave corrections that we have to fix. Basically, where traffic crisscrosses to get into the main line. We have one at 475 and US 23, and another one at US 25 and 475 in Currysburg. Both benefactors of the way ODOT's doing business now, where they say, can you spend the money, and then we find a way to make it happen. And a lot of credit to my P&E department, Mike Gramza, for pulling that off. McCord Road Rail grade separation project, that was the last major rail grade separation in that metropolitan area. That should sell on June 5th. And that was one of the Turnpike projects. All in all, $2.5 billion. We're well over $1.5 billion on contracts left for this year. It's the largest program ever. And again, it eliminates decade-long delays in our major projects. This is Jeff Lurkey's slide. He's not going to be with us today talking jobs and commerce, and he may have sat in on a couple of your meetings, Fred, on 53, and he gave me this information from Jerry. This is the investments that Jobs and Commerce has made in my district alone. Those are 4 projects that have been completed. Our money leveraged basically $381 million in additional capital, and retained 2,100 jobs and created 411 new jobs. But those are the types of projects that Jobs and Commerce and the district get involved in. We try to be responsive. We don't want any business opportunities to not come because we're not responsive. So we work closely with the locals. The district even puts in resources if if it's that important to ensure that we can either do traffic counts or help somebody find a way to design transportation connections to bring in business. This is the information I'll give to you, Fred, and you probably make copies or have your systems. It's basically on House Bill 494, local transportation funding. Basically talks about creating regional transportation improvement projects, counties getting together under one county engineer, kind of the TID concept.
That's the TID concept.
Yeah, but it goes into a lot of depth, and I didn't have a chance to read it until I got here, but Jeff wanted to make sure that you had a copy of that. That's sitting before the House. And, looks like good information there to help leverage different opportunities to do what we're trying to do out here on 53. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Dennis. He's the construction administrator. He'll talk about all the work that we've got going on.
Morning, everyone. This year we have 69 construction projects, ODOT-led construction projects in District 2, 27 local let projects for a total estimated cost of $245 million worth of construction this year in District 2. Slide here shows just how we've progressed the last 2 years as far as increase in spending, construction. This year you can see quite a jump, $225 million to be spent. In Seneca County this year, we have a resurfacing project on US 224 that has a couple of small bridges too. They have, I think, 3 or 4 day closures on each one on 224. That job has sold. I don't believe we've had a pre-construction meeting yet on it though. We have a carryover project. It sold last fall. They just started this year on State Route 12, a small bridge replacement project. That job's supposed to be done in June. I think it'll probably be extended about a month beyond that. They hit a lot more rock out in the project than they anticipated in the plan, so that delayed a little bit.
Can I ask you a question
Yes.
at this point? That resurfacing on 224 includes that bridge that floods all the time. I was under the understanding that there was going to be something done to that to elevate that a little bit at some point and a few years down the road. Do you know if that's correct?
We'd have to check on that. I don't know. As far as this project, it's not.
Yeah, we're not raising the structure under this one. I think we talked about it last year.
I think we did too. I think I'll check into it and see
Okay.
what Mike, because I remember Mike Grams and some of the bridge engineers talking about it, so that
Uh-huh.
means that it's up in planning and design, so I'll see where it stands.
I thought it was in the design somewhere.
Right.
Just when I saw that resurfacing, I thought, oh, maybe we're going to do that before
Yeah,
the
I think
resurfacing.
there's two things where we've got it under design, and then we're working with the county engineer to make sure that the ditches are clean so that
Okay.
obviously it makes the water move away from it quicker.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt.
It's okay. No problem. Then we have one resurfacing project that jumps between Seneca and Sandusky counties on State Route 12. That settles in late July with late fall completion date for this year. And then there's local lot projects, Sarah Street improvements, I'm sorry. That's under design. When I talked to them this morning, they don't think it's gonna sell this year yet. There's a lot of utilities and railroads included in that project that has to be addressed. And the Iron Triangle Visitor Center, that's wrapping up right now as far as local lot projects.
Denny, where is this Sarah, or anybody in the room? Sarah Street? Is that over by the Tiffin University?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do believe so, yeah.
Heidelberg.
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 Okay, sorry.
Wrong university.
Yeah,
Makes it
one
so
of
great to
that-
have to. It's a good thing.
Yeah, right. I guess it's been under thought process for several years, and it's in the design stage right now, but like I said, they encounter a lot of utilities that need relocated, and there's a railroad involvement, and what I heard, and historical structures and all kinds of stuff, so. Future projects for the district, we're going to continue our emphasis on 75 through downtown Toledo, even across the South Bridge, it'll go over Maumee River, right near the new casino, so that's going to be a very huge project. And all the way up to I-280 with these projects here. So it'll be the whole I-75 corridor, the under construction. And then we have the Waterville Bridge and the Next Bridge are also future projects in our work. No,
Greg.
Greg Glover.
Sorry.
Do I have slides?
No,
No, you don't have slides
actually, basically, we bring our transportation administrator, county folks in here to talk about the county work plan, if there's any questions in regards to what we've been doing out there. I know on 53, I think we're pretty much done with the work that we had committed to in terms of filling in the ditches and.
Still a little more to do, and we have the excavator and dozer coming the end of June to finish that work.
Okay, so we'll be done this year with all
Yes.
Appreciate what you've done. I know you've done a lot of ditch alterations in that area. We appreciate that.
Yeah, if there's anything else that's out there that we're not aware of, I guess, just bring it up now, or you got Greg you can contact. Give the clicker to, there we go. Now here's our pitch for OGO.
Have any of you been to OGO yet or used it? It's a great resource, especially in the winter, this past winter. It's great to get an update on winter conditions of each roadway. I know that work closely with Greg to get updates on conditions, real-time conditions, and they also enter them during snowstorms. I think every 12 hours they'll update the road conditions and how everything is doing. So that's something that we take care of countywide. But also across the district, we are going to be this year implementing our freeway management system. And what that is, it is the message boards, 70 cameras that we have newly installed along the Toledo Metro Interstate area, in addition to sensors on the road which detect speed. And this is a little bit of what you can see here, showing that the interstate is green, and that means things are traveling at speed. This is really going to come in handy when we start construction pretty much on every portion of our interstate area in the Metro Toledo area. So we'll be able to check that prior to visiting Toledo, passing through it, because we will see 32 miles of construction all the way up through Findlay, in addition to other locations around 475 and 75 as well. So this is a great resource. You can check out camera angles, and it's going to be the go-to site once we get all this major construction underway. There's plans to not only upgrade this site, but add additional speed sensors as well. And those are going to be, they're in the process of working on that. All of this is monitored in a central location in Columbus. And they're the ones that put out all of the messages. They'll send out tweets. They're looking at getting text messages and implementing the 511 system, which is the number that you called that other DOTs use across the country. So that'll be interesting to look at. And I do believe that will be countywide, so you can get an idea in case there's any major incidents involving traffic types there. So, and they do that. We work with a highway patrol to get information from them on accidents, because I know that they've entered information on counties outside of the interstate, so it's important as well. So any questions on that?
Will these be just state roads, or will they
They're
boil down
ex-
to the county roads?
Well, they're like US 23, once you get off of, was it 68 there in Findlay. Some of the major routes, they're being added to the system, so 23 to Columbus, you can see, I don't know if 53's made it there yet, but we're adding capability. Obviously, the areas where it's freight sensitive and economic were first, and then we're expanding the management system out.
It's getting added onto the more that DOTs, I think, across the country see how useful it is for the public to use. They're using it. I know when you go up through Michigan, they've got cameras going all the way through Monroe County, up 75.
Yeah, and it's usually more on the routes that are sensitive to incidents where the traffic speed will drop below the posted speed. And that's what it's really showing you is, 75 is 70 miles an hour, so when it drops down to 55, it goes yellow. 23 is open 98% of the time, but it's a major freight corridor, so and a lot of the information, like she said, is obtained from the speed sensors that look like cameras along the highway. They're basically just radar detectors that track vehicles and feed back in here. And also we buy information from Google and the other phone companies that track the speed of cell phones in the area.
And that's something that that might evolve, in which you'll see not only state and federal routes, but other routes as well. Can't, promise that today or, tomorrow, but as technology continues to develop.
Yeah, we expect it to expand out.
Yeah, I would think, it's just started in 13 or 14?
We've been working on this, it's slowly been implemented. We started the project and designing it, I think about 5 years ago. So this is something that we've been looking at for some time here in the metro area, but across the entire state, Columbus, they've had a network like this set up and established for some time now. They're to the point where they have to upgrade theirs just because technology just keeps on.
Yeah, it's getting easier to do it. so.
It's getting
I could
easier
see the
to do.
merit from this, from a manufacturer, from
Yep.
transportation standpoint. Okay, where do I run my trucks? I'm
Well,
gonna-
and that's
you know.
good points, right? Yesterday, we were at Lucas County, and obviously, all the factories in the Toledo area are highly sensitive to just-in-time delivery, so we're gonna have the freeway management system. Teresa's talked to all the suppliers at Jeep and let them know that this application's available. That way, they can come up with alternate routes. They know where to go to look if they have to reroute freight movements that are time sensitive. So yeah, it's the eyes on economics and moving people and freight. Appreciate you guys' time. Like I said, we only had 15 minutes worth of information. If you have any concerns or questions, we'll, as usual, try to help out where we can.
Thank you, appreciate you
We're
coming
ver-
in.
we're very anxious, and I think in July, to get the outcome of the study with the input from all the stakeholders in that, and what the recommendations are to how we can move forward, and realizing that, I think all of us realize this is really a long-term approach.
Right, and
Maybe
that
a
information-
20-year approach to the
If
process.
that House bill goes through, then we have additional options to continue to build that program.
Yeah, so there was certainly, the TID was not received well here because of combining with other counties.
It's competing
and having-
interests. It makes, yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I
But,
mean, it's-
early on in the process, everybody was looking at ODOT to be the leadership in it, and we're not gonna tell people who can have what and who can't have what, and that's why, I think the way you guys work together and the group, came up with the program, I think it's gone very, very well. So I appreciate you working with Mike Stormer.
We're very appreciative of work. As I said, I mean, it's a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
It isn't us pushing something down ODOT or you guys, we got 4 counties and we got ODOT. Let's have the 5 of us sit down and what can we collectively do that's affordable and has the most bang for the buck.
And I believe it's a first time doing something like this.
Really?
Yeah. On this geographical area with this many interests working together.
We certainly appreciate it.
All right, well, we'll get moving, so you said you had a 3-hour program.
You might miss the popcorn.
Thanks, Todd.
Thanks, Ally.
Yeah, thanks, good to see you again.
How's the landing going?
Excellent.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Good.
Are you the local guy here?
Yes.
Yes.
The local, my hat's off.
Do you have any questions?
Was during a major snowstorm this year, and we had ice all over, and we had people slip sliding around. It was 9 o'clock at night. I go out to ODOT,
Because
and
of
I
a
said,
pipe, because of a pipe break. Okay.
yeah, oh, yeah, that's right, yeah, because of a pipe break. We had water all over, frozen. I said, could somebody please give us some salt? And whoever was the lady was out on the desk that night.
Sue, yeah.
She was right on top of it. The truck followed me downtown and salted the parking lots and the sidewalk over by the annex, and my hat's off. I wanted to thank somebody,
Yeah, not a problem. I mean, we knew that we weren't gonna run out of salt. We had we had a lot of salt in the state, but the problem was getting it to where it needed to be, and so we just needed to know where the needs were. And when we did, we moved it as quickly as we could to help out the local community.
This was highly irregular. This was county parking lots.
Oh, well, that's, glad we could help out.
Maybe you're
Wasn't a
supposed to
lot of
don't
salt
that.
There were some other areas where
Great
actually
one.
they put it on the road. Yeah, we don't want to go much further there. You guys use the salt on the road, I'm sure, too. All right, thanks.
Hope I didn't get anybody in trouble.
Yeah. Well, we still have time to continue our work session. We have various other people in the room, and we can let you talk to us now, or you can wait till the formal session. It really is no difference other than it's all still recorded, and all of that. We just start, it's not our formal meeting. So, Mr. Roberts, did you have anything for us today, or are you just?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
They made a movie of that, Mr. Roberts.
Yes. Madam Chairman, gentlemen, it's Memorial Day time again. Memorial Day weekend is coming up, and I want to come, make sure you know that you're invited to the Memorial Day services Monday, the 26th. There seems to be a little confusion on where it's going to be. It's going to be the same old place, the gazebo, the Rotary Park, right along the river on Frost Parkway. And the whole weekend for veterans organizations, it's kind of a hallowed holiday. We start out on Saturday by going out to all the graves, the cemeteries, and put out the flags. And that's quite a lengthy process, but it's a labor of love that we all enjoy doing. And I know the American Legion, we take care of St. Mary's Cemetery. The VFW takes care of St. Joe's Cemetery. Fairmont Cemetery used to be taken care of by the DAV, Chapter 34, which is no longer in existence. The Commission on Aging is out there. They didn't have to pay taxes on the building, so they didn't have to worry about that. Anyway, Joe Steininger and his crew, they take care of that out there. Then Green Lawn, which is the biggest cemetery with the most hills, the most trees and everything else, the AMVETS Post 48, they start out there about 8 o'clock, and then as we finish our cemeteries, the other cemeteries, we go and continue and help them, because it takes a good 2.5, 3 hours maybe out at Green Lawn. And this year, I had a lady contact me with her 2 daughters, and they wanted something to do as far as Memorial Day weekend went, and they volunteered to help put flags out. And this is great. I think we should make it a community activity, more people that volunteer in that. But anyway, parade's going to be good. We have 2 new fellas in charge of the parade this year. Bill Pusey and Joe Steininger used to handle it. And then Bill Pusey's wife, unfortunately, suddenly passed away about 3 or 4 months ago, so they weren't able to continue. So we have Jody O'Million, who's a retired Air Force sergeant, and he's got more stripes on his arm than you could count, okay? But a heck of a nice guy. And Denny Birkin, who's a retired Army man and also a retired Fremont police officer that lives in Fort Seneca. He's helping us too. So we'll get that done. And then the ceremony at the park, Rotary Park, will be about 10:30 or so, immediately after the 10 o'clock parade. And it'll be very short again. It depends on how much I talk. I get carried away sometimes. But we try to keep it down because our audience is getting older. And the city of Tiffin, the park board, they have put up or are going to put up the bleachers again, so we will have seating with bleachers facing. But I truly hope that if you haven't already scheduled other things, and I know it's a busy time, you know, this is our first nice weekend of the year, and sunshine on all 3 days, they say, but of course, who trusts the weatherman, right? But anyway, we hope that you find it. I'll have a chair for you to sit in. You won't all 3 have to sit in the same chair. You know, we'll have 3, a separate chair for each one of you. And they ask you to say a few words if you are there. But like, if you can't make it, we understand it. You've got other ones, other responsibilities too. But Jeff, I especially like to see you there. We've had a long, rough road, you know. I don't know how many years we've been doing this together over there at the monument, but I think it's when you were a commissioner before. We started it, and then all the time that you were our state representative, and we truly appreciate all that you did helping veterans, calling a couple special meetings for us even, so the commanders could get around and everything. So we really appreciate what you've done. So it's kind of your swan song. We sure like to see you there this year, and the other 2 of you too, if you can make it. So anyway. We always say, and I said this at City Council, if you can't make it, what we ask you to do is after every funeral that we have for one of our departed comrades, we go back to the club from which we started, and it's usually the AMVETS, and we'll take our iced tea, our beer, whatever we happen to be drinking,
and we toast one to our departed comrade. And that's what we ask you to do. If you're out there on Monday, you don't have time to do anything else, in the midst of your barbecue, in the midst of your wife's list of mowing and planting flowers and everything else, just take some time out in the day when you've got that cold one in your hand, just kind of tilt it to the sky and say, Nastarovia. That's a good Russian term. You can say there, or salute, whatever you want to do. So, but anyway, appreciate your time. I came the wrong day. I always get upset with the state of Ohio.
Oh, we hope we didn't have to upset you.
Talking about our Band-Aid solutions in Seneca County, you know, but incidentally, that the Sarah Street project you asked about, that was from Paul Gilmore money.
It's been a
And
while,
how
but
long has Paul Gilmore been gone? We're in our second congressman since him. This is still dragging on. Progress, I guess we didn't grease the wheels well enough or something, so. But there's so many things that hoops they're trying to jump through and everything else. So maybe next year we'll see that, so.
Jim, I gotta ask you,
Yes, sir.
Seneca County and of the cemeteries, how many flags do they put out of deceased veterans? Do you have
I'll
any
tell ya.
idea?
We put out about, I think around 400 at St. Mary's.
Just at St. Mary's?
Yes, and those come through the Veterans Service Office that you folks fund. Some of it's mandatory, some of it isn't. But that comes from county funding, the taxpayers'
It's
funding.
easily a couple thousand,
Oh, easily.
easily within the
Easily.
county. Yeah,
Easily.
within this surrounding
And,
cemeteries.
And of course, every year we find, there's the little flag holders.
They're gone.
And the rods are what they're after because of the bronze or whatever.
Oh,
I heard that the other day.
So, and nobody has gotten smart enough to make them out of a cheaper metal that they're not gonna want, Someday, in government, they'll come up with a great idea. Let's make them out of a cheaper material. But, yeah, they're like $27, the wholesale cost for each one of those little flag holders. And, so that's a pretty expensive proposition, but, we have one Medal of Honor winner, and he is buried out at Green Lawn. A couple people are working on his gravesite, getting that fixed up and everything. But it's a humbling experience if you just go out and drive through the cemeteries, or if it's a nice evening on the weekend, just go out and walk through the cemetery. It's a very humbling experience because you realize every one of those flags out there does not represent a man or woman killed in the service, but it represents a man or a woman that served our country. And that service is a very important part. I'm proud to have served my part, so.
Jim, who did you say was doing Green Lawn?
Green Lawn will be the AMVETs mostly. And, but we all go over and gather to help them afterwards, so.
Okay, so what time do they start that?
They start at Green Lawn, they start at 8 o'clock. And if you go out Coast Street, go past the old part, and Green Lawn Drive comes out,
Yeah.
go on past there, and the first driveway in, you'll see the flag pole in
Yeah.
what we call the new part, and that's where they're gonna meet. You'll see the cars there. So, John Miller's the commander. He's the one that's in charge out there. He looks gruff, but he's really a pretty nice guy. Okay.
Do we need the steps and things out for the flag at Courthouse Square? Tanya and I were talking about that yesterday. We didn't know if there was anything physically there or just get the,
Jim White did not say anything. I'll call him.
no one's contacted us, but we're
Yeah,
glad to make
okay,
sure
well,
that.
I'll see Jim at about 11:30. We have a funeral today.
Okay.
Incidentally, we've had 9 funerals in the last 2 weeks. So we're losing a lot of our old friends. But I'll check with Jim and see what he needs and then have him, if they do, because he always handles that part of raising the flag, so.
Okay.
Okay. Have a nice holiday. I appreciate your receptiveness as usual.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you, thank you. All right, see y'all.
We still have a few minutes before we formally will start our 10 o'clock meeting, so I don't know if Denny and Dave, or Gene and Dave, you guys want to talk about fair stuff now? Doesn't matter to us, or you want to wait until we formally call it, just because of our
Well, I can
advertised
talk now.
public meeting time, we probably.
I'm just here because, well, Jeff, I guess, invited me or something. we got a lot of people concerned about the blacktop driveway at the fairgrounds, and the county uses it pretty heavy, and that's why we was wondering if there was parts they could help on. That's what asked somebody to come to the meeting, so I'm here for that.
Okay,
So,
all right. You're president of the Fair Board now, Dave,
Yes, yes.
and you're representing Fair Board or
He's
Farm Bureau?
Farm Bureau,
Farm
yeah.
Bureau.
And we installed our new sidewalks, and we now have a tripping hazard because we put them up to where Tom Daniel said they ought to be to help with our drainage. And our little parking lot is in bad shape, and it's hard to get somebody to come in and do something that small, and if you don't, I hate to see it patchworked in. You know, you do some, and then a year later, somebody else does some, and we thought it'd be better if we could all fix that up.
Yes.
And we're not sure who is responsible for what,
Well,
according to our
I know
lease.
Commissioner Wagner has looked into this a little bit with the county engineer, so he might have some more information on that to share.
But that's our concern, we need to do something with our parking lot. We're more than willing to help out and just figure out who is going to help pay for it, or pay for it, who's responsible. It needs done.
Yeah.
And we thought, if we get everybody together and,
That's kind of what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And the Fair Board asked me to bring it up, and then Davey
Yeah.
volunteered to come and talk too. So I told him I'd bring it up. I asked Mark to go out and look at the section.
Like there was 3 sections I seen there, was it?
2 sections.
Two
sections.
sections.
From
Two
public
methods.
safety, his recommendation is from the public safety to the road. If it was a road, he would tar and chip it, but it's not a road, so you don't want to tar and chip it and have all the baby buggies getting stuck in the tar at fair time. So his recommendation would be to grind out 1.5 inches and replace that with ODOT Type 1 surface asphalt. Best guess without surveying, 20 to 25,000. And then the entrance basically from the gate out to Hopewell Avenue, just that short area, he said the base is gone there, so you'd have to grind that completely out. And that would be another 25 to 30,000 for that small of an area.
So,
time to
so
do the base.
from the service building to the gate
Uh-huh,
is one thing, they wanna
right.
grind that out and resurface that. And then from the gate to the road is another, so basically what we got is from the road to the service building.
Well,
Is-
yeah, there's two different needs there. The short part is, the base is gone. The long part, the base is real good, you just need to put a new top on it. Now, the county owns none of it. We have an easement for the Fair Board. The Fair Board owns the whole thing, except maybe the parking lot. I suppose the Farm Bureau owns the parking lot. All we own is the public safety building, and we have an easement. But we do use it quite regularly. and,
Ken and his ambulances.
Ken and his ambulance, he
Just
drives-
blame you, Ken, I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's coming back there. So it would be a good neighbor thing, and the Fair Board just asked me if we'd be willing to do anything. Now, I've not talked to Farm Bureau at all between now and then, but I guess they called.
according to our lease, the Fair Board, the Ag Society's responsible for it, but it's kinda gray as, it doesn't mention our front parking lot. And that's the main one, right where the front door is. And just kinda off the wall, Kenny Crable said it'd be about 3,600, that was last year, to put 1.5 inches down, no other work done.
So wait, we've got the roadway plus the parking lot?
Yeah, it kind of fans
Well,
into it, you know, it's just,
Yeah. Like they're saying, they wouldn't want to see us or anybody at the Fair Board, anybody do the roadway, and they would
Not
like to
do
do
the
their
parking
parking lot at the same
Well, they're
time.
there, yeah, that's
Because
it.
they've already got this
Yeah.
dip
Rather
in.
somebody come in there and do just this little narrow strip,
You
trying
end
to
up with a
work.
pool in your
all the
parking
time.
lot,
That's
so-
what we're trying to do.
You'd have the waiting
See, I didn't
pool.
understand the first one, now
Yeah.
when Mark said you didn't wanna tar and chip it, oh, now that I know where it's at.
Yeah.
So you don't wanna
Yeah.
tar and chip
No.
that.
No.
You're gonna have everybody cussing you out during fairway.
when Stacy was going to look into the lease and who's, you know, we really don't, without getting lawyers involved, know who's actually fully responsible for,
Right, yeah, right, the building,
Yeah.
where, we don't know.
The Ag Society owns it, so it would be their responsibility, but we do all use it, so.
So
And
if
that
we,
did
if
not
we,
include that big parking lot, did it? The one in between?
I don't believe.
see, it says in our lease that the Ag Society is responsible for the west side, which would be, it was, I believe, 20 feet was what they looked at, 20 by 120 on the west side. nothing's mentioned about out front. That's our main concern. A tar and chip on the side wouldn't be the worst for us. But out front, you can't take tar and chip up, build it up to the sidewalk and with the foot traffic and,
Yeah.
You say there's
Jeff?
20 foot
So I have this.
west,
that's what they looked at.
This is Hopewell.
they got something like
Here's the road where
30
you come in.
foot.
This
There's
is
a
the
spot
farm
in
bureau,
there.
this is,
Yeah.
public safety, this is the.
No,
front.
yeah.
So what
Yeah,
you're
we're just trying to
talking
figure
about
out-
is This here,
Yeah.
we
we can-
replace everything
So if we
here
were,
to.
I'll wait till these two are
just
done
put a
behind me
layer
here.
on top of it, and then,
I think the parking
I could
lot
turn
he's
around
talking
and clap
about
her
is
with
the
my
front
chair.
parking lot.
It'd be nice to get
Here.
the main long
no,
part
nothing here.
first.
Yeah.
Because when they said
That-
3,600 bucks, I
that's a
can't
lot
do
right
that.
there. That ain't a lot worse than, that gets pothole. The entrance part gets potholes, the other part doesn't really.
so much.
There's a little one out there right now I seen. I patched one, I think.
You're not talking about the parking lot between the public safety and the
Hopewell
farm
and
bureau. You're talking the
This is what
front
I
part.
understand.
Well, the front, but
This
in
is
our
the
lease,
fence
it
line.
mentions that
This here.
To the
we're
west
gonna
of the
replace it
building.
all.
That 3,600 was
That's
just the
that part you
front.
just said.
was just
They
the
wanna
front.
replace, this is a
It's
civil defense.
It's getting hard to get an estimate
This is
because
Farm Bureau and this is civil defense.
everybody's got
road.
estimates and
This is
nobody
the
does
parking
anything,
lot.
so now they don't
What
even
you're
wanna give you an
talking about is
estimate anymore.
Replace this roadway
So,
here.
that's, so we're just.
I'm just trying to make sure I
He said that
understand.
3,600 is the front lot. but-
Right in front of the Farm Bureau.
But the other one,
Yeah,
that was.
I'm
needs it.
trying
So
to
you're
get
not
my
concerned with
understanding.
this parking lot, you're concerned with your parking that's in front
This
of
is
your building?
Hopewell
or
Avenue,
both?
this is the fence.
I mean, I know
Right
for us,
here-
it's this.
Right here is what Mark Zimmerman is
Right,
saying.
the bad.
The bad. and then
The real bad, yeah.
Real bad,
Yeah.
and then here you're talking, and this is
That's
the
the driveway.
Farm
Yeah, we
Bureau.
got a little parking lot right here out front of the building. Our main
Okay.
entrance is here.
So where are you talking about replacing from here on back?
Just.
Yeah, that part there, but isn't the roadway?
Yeah, that's right
Yeah.
next to the
But
road.
you're not
coming
talking
in.
about this parking lot.
Well, in our lease, it says about this parking lot, 20 by 120 that runs
But that's in good shape.
on the west
That's-
side.
It ain't too bad.
It-
Well, they're talking about, the foundation committee's talking about, they're the same thing. They were gonna seal it, they're gonna they was gonna do this, and they get, same thing, can't get bids no more because
Well, here's
They-
25,000. I want to make sure I have my,
Yeah.
and this here's
it's
25,000.
30 or something. like
Okay,
that.
yeah, okay, 30,000.
25.
And here Crable said to do this is
Roughly.
3,600.
Roughly
Yeah.
36.
Is what, so, okay, so, and this is how far back, you're only talking about going back to Farm Bureau.
Yeah, that's 20 foot probably, isn't it, there, that parking lot. That little
From
bit.
here on back,
20 by-
the roadway's okay.
Mark said back
No,
when
that's
the
the
public
part he wants
safety
to grind
building.
Public
out.
safety's all we looked at.
See, this here part comes clear up to here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
It's
think I
25.
think his price was all the way back to our
Yeah.
building.
All the way
Our
to,
building.
okay,
Right, yeah.
to here then.
Right, to
Yeah.
the back side of that building. It
So
sounded
that's the
like.
part I'd like to see get done first.
That,
before
it's the
that.
whole road?
Oh, really?
The whole
Before-
road?
Before this part?
Yeah, that's, yeah, well, both nice,
25,000 is
but,
pretty cheap for that.
well, you grind down an inch.
And that's not a bid from
That's a-
anybody, that's just a rough estimate.
Yeah, that's kind of.
Well,
a
Mark
ballpark.
knows,
Yeah.
but I know just putting parking lots in, just what we put in, 25,000, you don't get very much blacktop
Yeah.
anymore. It's like,
Not, no.
But I think we'd all be better off doing it at once rather than
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
find somebody to do this piece and.
Yeah,
Can we, just, now that I have my mind straight here of what it is, can we get the Farm Bureau, can they put in something for their little part in front there?
Well, I think
Oh, they will.
that's what he's
Yeah.
saying.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Gene
We're
is with
we're willing
Farm Bureau.
to, but we're just trying to figure out who
Yeah.
really owes how much and we need to do it together really to do the best
Contractually
job.
wise, who's responsible for this and this?
Well, the Ag Society
Ag
owns it
Society.
all.
The Ag Society owns it.
We don't own it, but we have an easement, so
We have an
we're not contractually obligated to put anything towards it, but we're kind of a good neighbor, we use it all the time. And I do feel that we've cut their funds so significantly in the
Well,
last
it's the Seneca
10
County
years.
Fair.
Yeah. So if we gave a contribution towards this, we would give it to the Ag Society.
Probably,
And then
yeah,
you
yeah.
would coordinate the project and take care of that end
Farm
of it
Bureau,
because,
you're
right?
willing to take care of your 3,600, whatever in front of it.
It sounds like it. I mean,
Sounds
we-
like
that.
we do what we have to do, but
I mean, we could ask Mark to do up the specs for it. He's willing to do that. He's not willing to do the work, but he
Right.
could do the specs and get.
Why is he saying, I understand why he's saying grind it out by the street if the base is bad. Why would you wanna grind this out? Why wouldn't you just put a
I think
layer on
because it's
top?
getting too high and the.
Yeah. He's only going down an inch.
Like I said, their parking lot will be a
Okay,
pool.
Yeah.
Okay, you're,
We've got drainage issues now, and
Yeah.
that's why if we can work together and kind of get this thing, we can help solve some problems out there.
And I don't know what the Fair Board's bidding thresholds and prevailing wage and all that is, if it's the same as ours or not, but for us, it would be easier just to make a contribution and
Right.
let you worry about.
That we ask you to use,
Yes, I
use
see
it
your
towards
point.
this part of
I
the
see your
project,
point
wherever
there,
your
yeah.
preference
We
is,
just do,
whether
we
it's
just do the
the front
job.
or the drive.
The only time we got really involved in the prevailing wage when we built the office, when we had that grant money.
I think if we go over 25 or something,
50.
50,000,
Oh,
50,000.
that was-
Now, would we want Mark to
50
to
is
write
the-
up specs, or would you guys just go out and get bids and
50's
come to
bidding,
us and?
Prevailing wage is less.
We could ask Mark if he'd be willing to do the
Yeah,
specs
she
for
just
you,
pulled the
because then that,
sheet.
you wouldn't have to, I
Depends
don't know
on
if you
new
normally have to pay somebody to do this or
construction
not,
or
but you
if it's
would
old
have
or
to.
I don't know.
I'd have to look.
I don't,
If you're comfortable with that, we can
usually
ask
try
Mark
and
if he
get
would
by
do
the
the
best
specs.
for the
Right.
easiest we
Yeah,
can do it.
yeah.
Exactly.
You guys have been very frugal.
Without running around, because, you know, we're just volunteers and spend enough time without,
To,
Do we
well,
want to,
sometimes
do we
them
want to
jobs
match
go
whatever
good.
they do, whatever they put in towards it?
Sometimes we have a little trouble just going out and getting something
I mean,
done.
if they chose they wanted to do the whole thing, that's gonna be more,
that
but
would be reasonable.
what if we, we did something like we match whatever you come up with, and whether you've got money,
Well,
for,
we've got the.
not your part, but the,
Our,
that way if you
the
prioritize, you want
foundation committee, whatever you call them, Junior Fair Committee Foundation, now they kind of changed their name around. They're committed to money to seal Blacktop, but they would change to replace it too, could be better.
Okay, well, how much are they willing to contribute? A couple of questions I have.
Well, they've
Would
got-
we want Mark to engineer this, or is that gonna add more costs? And we want, you guys, I mean, who do you got? You got M&B and, you know, a couple
Well,
different blacktop
all Mark would do
people.
is do the specs. If Mark would do the specs for it, that would save everybody some money, and and then we could still do
Yeah.
some money towards the project. If Mark is willing to do that, we can't assume that, we've gotta ask Mark.
Right.
But if he's willing to draw the specs up for him, then they don't have to pay somebody to do that. And that could be, and then we could additional, get what
And then
funds
see
we
what
want.
funds are
They-
from the,
Yeah, this
from
one.
Junior
Yeah,
Fair.
they've committed 25,000, but that's the seal clear out from the super barn down toward our office and around the corner. I don't think they was going clear of the road though.
Yeah. So are they willing to
And
use
then
that
up-
money towards,
Well, I don't
if you,
know.
if you guys wanna prioritize it
Yeah.
to say, we wanna do this, and we
We
gotta,
might-
and if we can
yeah, we
match,
might
we'll get a
be able-
match if we
well,
can,
Yeah.
So that way we look at it.
They might
and-
not, what they wanna seal, it sounds like they're not gonna use near all of it all, so,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, if we find out this is a $50,000 project and they're willing to contribute 20,000 for it, then our decision is, can we come up with 30,000 to go ahead and do it?
Well,
I think,
I think what Holly's saying makes sense, is we kind of match dollar for dollar whatever they come up with. Then if they just want to do this little section at the end, or if they want to do the whole thing, then it's kind of on,
And which, it's up to them with what they prioritize. If they say we wanna do the whole thing,
or the parking
Yeah.
and
lot
it's 50,
too.
so you guys have 25, we'll do 25.
the parking
or-
lot's separate
Yeah.
because that's Farm Bureau.
Right,
Yeah,
but-
but
no,
Ag
they're
Society
gonna,
owns
they'll,
all of
con- they'll, yeah,
And they'll contribute probably towards that.
they'll contribute to it.
They just
too.
wanna make sure it gets done at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, that's the main
That's the
thing.
concern. Yeah,
I think there's a workable solution here. We just gotta find out what the
Yeah.
cost is to us,
yeah.
from the commissioner's standpoint, and I'm fine with that. If they wanna come up with the total cost of a project, and if Mark Zimmerman is willing to do the specs,
okay.
that certainly is an option.
Yeah.
Where you can go out, and that way everybody's comparing apples to apples. And at that point, you know what the total project cost is, how much is the Farm Bureau, how much is the Junior Fair willing to put in, then you come back to the commissioners and say, this is what our shortfall is. Commissioners, can you help that, or if you wanna do a matching thing, you know,
Yeah.
I'm fine either or. But you gotta go through the first two steps
Yeah.
before you even get to that point.
Yeah.
Do you want me to ask him for the whole section plus the parking lot to give specs for
Which is
everything?
just the parking lot in front of their building. Not
Just
the,
that,
not
you
the
don't
lot
wanna do-
between the two, unless you guys want that
Well,
too.
I don't, yeah, I have to look at that.
Okay,
You know, there's spots like behind the building back there, that drive that goes on back to the north. Well, the blacktop's peeling up because that's where, you know, sometimes when them outfits are out there blacktop in that area, they park in the fairgrounds, and when they got blacktop left, they spread it out here.
Yeah.
Well, it's that thick and it lasts a couple, 3 years and it peels off, and now we got something that don't look good. See?
yeah, yeah.
Do you want the parking lot included in the?
And then the
At
snowplow.
least
What
the
do you mean,
front.
this part?
At least the front.
Yeah, that,
Why would we wanna look at this parking lot?
well, this is the one between, we're not really.
Yeah, I didn't think
This is
so.
that drive back there, so.
Yeah,
you
it
don't know.
kinda comes back
And that
here.
gets, a lot of that gets tore up from snow plowing when that guy plows that whole lot.
The parking lot you're talking about is just in front
Yeah,
of
our
the fair.
building sits back a little more, and our
Yeah.
parking
Yeah.
lot's basically 36 by 57. That's where everybody parks, right out front.
Yeah.
And that's where we got water laying, and it's
When you do that,
busted
you
up.
always
It
do
need-
that.
Yeah, it just would be so
Well-
simple to,
We got a lot of buildings on the fairgrounds that wasn't built high enough off the ground. Right?
So are we all in agreement to see if Mark Zimmerman's willing to write specs on that?
I'll ask.
And you understand what we mean by the parking lot is only that's in front of
Okay.
the Farm Bureau.
How is your parking lot, Ken? Is it,
It could use it, I mean, while you're doing it, it would make sense to do that.
The big parking lot?
because we use that.
Up against the building, the
For
public safety
everything.
building, and all the way around, it could use it. And while you're doing it, I mean, it's, like these guys are saying, it's the easiest way
Yeah,
to
that's
do it.
easier said than done. I mean, you probably got another, that parking lot, you're probably
Well,
$40,000
I'd probably be glad
just
to
to
name
do
that
that.
the M&B parking lot if they wanted to. No, I'm just kidding.
I think of biting this off and this off,
yeah, and
and
that,
that's gonna be about as much,
had Mark look at it, and if he would.
well, you may want, okay,
Yeah.
have Mark look at it, we'll bid that separate.
Or see what he
The
says.
lot Ken's
Well,
talking
it's up to them
about
if
is
they wanna
not
bid
the
it.
same as the lot you're talking about, I don't think. You're talking about right where we pull the ambulances in.
Right.
Oh, in the
Where's
front.
that?
You're talking about in front of the
In front of
building,
the three main bay doors.
in front of the
Just
gate,
in
his doors.
front of them. Yeah, but it
Should be
depends,
just this part
on
here.
this parking lot here, how far, or this driveway, are we gonna go back just to your building, or are we gonna go back to the end of the building?
I think Mark looked at it, talking all the way back to
the building, I
the
think
front
that's
of
what he's
the,
talking.
of the
Going right to the
civil
door.
defense.
Right to the door.
Well,
Because
then
that
you wanna
gets
do
chewed
yours,
up.
cause if not,
Yeah.
you're gonna do a strip, and then there's gonna,
Right.
yeah, then you gotta do it.
It makes sense that while you're doing
I
it.
haven't even looked at what condition that is.
It's not terrible, but I figure while we got the equipment there and we're doing it, it would make more sense to just run that whole
Not this
section.
I was thinking
Not
they
this
were
one.
only gonna go to here.
Yeah,
This
Because
one.
it does get a lot of traffic.
he's talking about in front.
Farm Bureau. I don't know if we need to do from here to here.
Mark talked about all the way to the civil defense, so I assume he meant all the way in front, across the front of the civil
Yeah.
defense, but maybe he didn't.
I'll ask, because it just says entrance fence to CB building.
I guess it's unclear.
Two seat,
Just says two,
So
it
it might
doesn't
have
mean,
been,
Well,
it
to
might
the
have been, it
end.
might
Yeah.
have been here.
yeah, that's the way
I'll
I
ask
take when
him.
it says two CB building, I take it to there, the
Yeah.
CD building. But,
Well, I think they ought to at least go here, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
agree, I agree.
When you look at it,
I mean, that's our benefit, because
Yeah.
that's the building we own, so if we're gonna contribute, I guess we would like to see it go
Yeah,
to the front of that,
front of your building, yes.
Yeah.
Make it everything look better there, because,
yeah. Well, that's your, we talk fair, but it's also every flea market you have, and,
well, yeah.
Okay, so he's gonna look at, let's make sure we're clear here, to the far end of the CD building to the road, and give us some sort of estimate, not including the little parking lot.
not the
between
side
these-
lot,
the
just
side
in
lot,
front of the
not including
buildings.
side
The
lot.
parking area is in front of the buildings,
Is that-
parking in front of the building, not
Yeah.
this one on the
Right.
side.
Yeah.
That's,
Not
just the
That's
front of
what
the
we're
two
all
buildings.
saying, I think.
Yep, yep.
and then we'll discuss it the next meeting, if he says yes, or if he says no, or
Yep.
whatever.
Well, I don't know if next meeting, then seemed to be the next thing would be let it out for bid. Once we know a cost, and then what are we gonna discuss until we know
They
what
don't-
the cost
they don't
is
have-
and what you guys are gonna contribute?
Yeah, it's their project, so they don't have to let it to bid like we would have to, they gotta do that, they gotta
Yeah.
get their
Yeah,
quotes and
yeah.
whatever works for them.
You guys have to come
We'll have to
back.
come up and get a price and come back to you.
Yeah, and then when you come back with this.
We'll get a
what
drawing of where all we're
contribution-
gonna do.
Of what
We
contribution
got our
the
map.
other stakeholders.
Yeah,
We'll get it, where we get it, so we know what we're doing.
Personally, I like the idea of the match, because then they can do as much or as little as they,
what you guys
They would
afford to do,
prioritize.
on that.
and you know that we're there for half of it.
We have no idea what we can afford, depends
And,
on
and
the weather.
and the foundation might
Yeah,
like that
but
too,
see,
if
now
that, if that
they can only
foundation has
come
that
up with
money.
5,000, then we're
Yeah, we're beating your head.
pissing
yeah.
in the wind,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
And so, I mean, that's why the match is a difficult one now. If they can come up with a sizable match, then absolutely, but I don't
I'm
know
gonna
what your
try and
finances are.
swing some of that money if they wanna seal.
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
toward
If they
this
got
project,
25,000,
which
yes.
is
Yeah.
a long-term better than,
Well, and with letting
And
them
I
know
think
that
I
we
can
can
do
match
that.
that, they probably would like that idea
Well,
too.
that-
They think,
I
well, that
thought
think our
the
money
same
better
thing.
spent, because that 25 will give us 50,
Absolutely.
you know.
No, now there you're talking
Yeah.
match that would,
Yeah.
certainly a size.
yeah.
That would make a difference. Okay. All right, well,
Okay.
thanks.
Yeah, you're.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you for your
Yes,
time.
you're welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah.
You're free to stay or leave, whatever you want to do. But we're going to formally call the regular session just a little bit late.
I gotta go
to
spray
order.
weeds at the fair. I
We're
gotta-
still rolling, I'm assuming, since we never really stopped, okay. We'll call this meeting to order, please join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Wagner, if you'll bring out a prayer for us.
Lord, again, we thank you for this opportunity to come and to meet and to work on county business. We pray especially for this Memorial Day weekend. We thank you for this country that we live in and for all the blessings that it entails all those that fought for it. In Jesus' name, amen.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Stacy?
Here.
Commissioner Boyd?
Here.
Commissioner Wagner?
Here.
We'll have the signing of the journal and then accept a motion to approve the DVD recording from our previous session, which was May 13th, and the index of that meeting.
I move.
Second.
The motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved. Thank you. All right, we're going to adjustments to the agenda. I think we need to add EMS update under old business, correct?
Okay.
Anything else anybody wants to add?
I want to bring up the IT COG meeting that I went to for Fred yesterday. Phones and the aggregation for the Big Springs and Clinton Township.
Okay. Lots of things, and since we're already behind, let's, Jill, would you like to be on at 10:19 instead of 10:15?
That's fine.
That's not too bad.
This one for you. Thank you.
You're gonna be quite a celebrity, that's all I've seen your name in the paper.
Okay, what I'm here to talk about today are the projects that I received applications for CDBG for the FY14. The county's allocation amount that is available is $108,000. And so we have 3 applications. The first one being Seneca County with the elevator at the County Services Building, which is the CSB. And I received an estimate just last week for the total of $236,393 on that for the total project. City of Fostoria submitted an application for $54,500. That's to remodel an existing restroom in the municipal building to be compliant with ADA requirements. And then the Village of New Regal also submitted an application for replacement of sidewalks and curbs in the village with the total estimated at $52,440. They are willing to contribute some funding towards that.
Who's they?
New Regal.
New Regal,
New
okay.
Regal. And that's noted on there. So those are your 3 projects that were submitted this year.
And we have to have some for Fostoria, is that correct?
And it looks as though, I did meet with Dan Thornton this week I believe. And we talked about the Neighborhood Revitalization Grant, which is the one that, one of the competitive ones we applied for the, them last year. And so we are looking at doing that again. Dan has talked about wanting to change it just a little bit from last year, so I'm communicating with the state on those changes to see how that would make it right, if I could get a feel for it. So to get some feedback from them. So I'm working on that side of it, but we are planning on submitting another one for that, for Fostoria again. So if, in order to do that, one of the recommendations from the state is to allocate some of that funding from this program towards that project. Recommendation is 15 to 20%. So you're looking at, if you go with 15%, $16,200 is 15% of 108, or 20% at $21,600 to apply that portion of your allocation funding toward that NRG grant, the competitive side for Fostoria. And then if you do that, that could be your project in Fostoria if it's funded. If it's not, you have to have an alternate project for Fostoria, because the county is required for 3 years to have a project in Fostoria because of that coming into the county now.
Okay, 2 questions. Says on the City of Fostoria there, they're asking for the total cost for this restroom. So, say we give them a little bit, say we give them $20,000, $25,000, does that mean the project doesn't go anywhere? Or would they step up and pay the rest?
I know that they are willing to commit funding toward the NRG program. We didn't discuss this one, and I'm just looking at their application. They don't say that they have additional sources for funding on this one.
Okay.
But I can talk to them and find out about that and how much, if they do have some to apply to it.
Okay, and then the other question was on the New Regal and the timing of that. We talked about the issue 1 is going to repave Tiffin and Perry Streets, and they wanted this done before that. How do you know if that timing works out?
And I did talk to Larry Bullion about that, and he said that they don't want to do any curbs. They just want to do sidewalks after all, and it's just along North and South Perry Street. They just are focusing on sidewalks, so that's not going to have.
Timing's not a problem.
It's not
then.
an issue.
Okay.
Because the gentleman that filled out the application for New Regal had one understanding, and then when they discussed it further later, realized that that's not going to happen that way because
I didn't think it could.
Right.
Okay.
So.
I thought for the CDBG that there had to be a portion, I mean, a percentage of it had to be towards Fostoria.
It does. You have to have one project in Fostoria with your allocation funding for 3 years.
Projects, not percentage-wise of the total.
No, but with the neighborhood revitalization grant, that competitive grant, where we're maybe gonna ask for up to 300,000 additional funding again, it's recommended that the county apply a portion of your CDBG money to that competitive project. So take that 16,200 or 21,600, whatever you determine, and apply it to that project out of that 108. And then use the rest of what's remaining to do whatever projects you determine to be your priorities.
That elevator came in kind of expensive, didn't it?
Yeah, boy.
And I gave you copies of the estimate that I received, so some of that,
Who's some of the companies you
Pardon?
inquired with?
well, actually, I think Tanya got a hold of this one just to get the quote, just to get the estimate. And we've used them for other projects. I have for a block grant, and then I think the county has also used them for other projects. And so they just did the estimate.
Because there's a group down in Massillon called Canton Elevator
Okay.
that does anything less than 3 stories.
Okay, this
Yeah.
one, I know, this was TFC Architects and Engineers that did the estimate, and they contacted the elevator company that is in that building. I went over with them
That's what I'm
the
thinking,
day
that may
that he
be
walked
inexpensive.
through.
Now they had the new system for less than 3 stories, they're hydraulic.
Oh, okay.
So you don't have all the pulleys, and so it's just basically a big hydraulic ram that takes it up and down. Substantially cheaper, newer technology.
But
So-
to replace the entire thing would be cheaper?
Pardon?
To replace the entire thing, because that one's a pulley. That, I
Yeah,
know
well,
that.
I don't know. I
Okay.
just throw that out for thought.
Okay, and I do know, I actually learned a lot. I've never seen that elevator, how it functioned, and so it's kind of
It's quite
interesting to
elaborate.
see.
Quite
But,
elaborate with the
it
pulley
was,
system.
it's from 1946 or 47, actually.
That's what bothers me. If they would've used a similar type company,
Mm-hmm.
then they're using old tech. I just throw that out food. The only reason I know is we supply the shaft, the cabs
Okay,
to that company, and they're,
But when we get to the point of actually fixing it, then it'll be opened up for more competition. This
yeah.
is just an
Yeah,
estimate to get us,
yeah.
and this is keeping some of the current, stuff too.
Yeah,
So
this isn't-
keeping the car
This isn't gutting it
and-
all, this is
no.
keeping, this is just getting it.
Upgrading it.
Upgrading it, yeah.
Mhm.
that's awful expensive.
Yeah, replacing the governor and cable and the,
And again, I have no idea, but I just throw that out for thought. There is a newer technology versus the 4 smaller facilities like that. They put them in hotels and what are just 3, 4 stories. They can only go up so high.
now suppose we would award, say, 80,000 to that project and the county made up the rest, then that would go to bid like any other project?
Yes, because it's over.
Okay.
Mhm.
So then you would get the different ideas
Yes.
at that point.
Yes. The estimate
I-
is just
I
the
think that's
starting.
something we need to make a priority, at least putting some money toward that, because that's just a headache, and it's gonna be a headache.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
how
it was
much we
just
spend
down.
every year. We
It
look
was
at
just
that.
down again the other day.
Pardon?
It was just down again the other day.
Yeah, I
The
mean,
elevator
was
was.
it 25,000 a year or something? That
Oh, we're spending, that elevator's been down more than it's been running this year.
1946 technology.
but we have to put so much into this Fostoria project.
I think we gotta do something for Fostoria, and we did make a priority of New Riggle with that issue 1.
Mhm.
Mark and I voted on that issue 1 thing, we were able to give some extra points to them. You know, in fairness, they're always a good project, everything's a good project, but I guess I'd like to see us do something towards the Fostoria one, because, well, obviously we have to do that, and then
I
something
guess
towards
I'm
the elevator.
confused.
Well, if we only
We
do
got
the
108,000.
20% for the,
You had these 3
And
projects
NRG.
together up here.
and if that don't go through,
We'll have
can
to
we
make up
still
the
rest. That's not
only
enough to do our
offer 20,000 for
If we-
this
If we
project?
allocated 80 to ours or 60 to
And
ours.
if they don't
we'd
accept
have to
it-
make up the rest.
I see, I see,
Um,
I see. This is the
They
total
just need
cost of
to
the project.
send a letter
That's all the
saying
money
we
they
got.
choose to opt out
That's
of the
all we
program
got.
this
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
FY14.
They can't
Yeah,
force us
so
to
it-
make.
so obviously
to do
we're
the
gonna have to
project.
If
the
the
rest
city
to
of
make ours
Fostoria
happen.
mayor
Yeah,
agrees
if
to
we wanna
that,
make it a
then
priority,
no.
if we wanna just
That's
keep patching it,
all
we
you
can
need.
keep patching it.
Hmm.
I was talking to Jill,
Yes,
she
ma'am.
said that, like the 20% that we'd have to give for, the
NRG, neighborhood revitalization.
the 20%, if that doesn't go through, we take that same 20,000 and offer it to the city of Fostoria.
For the restroom.
And then if they don't have the match money or they don't want to do the match money, then they can agree to sign off of that project and we can, not that we don't want to help them, but we want to do extra projects, we could say, or 20,000 is what we're contributing. You want to do this project, can you fill in the rest?
And the first priority being the NRG, because they wanna
Yeah.
do that, right? They wanna
Yeah.
apply
Yes.
for that.
Yes.
So as long as we do that to one or the other.
Mhm. Yeah, you need to have a project in Fostoria as an alternate when we submit the application. So when we do the resolution approving the projects for the year, we'll have an alternate, provided we do the NRG application, we'll have an alternate for Fostoria then. And then if the NRG is not approved, that Fostoria moves up as one of the main projects.
So this could be the alternate project for Fostoria,
Mhm.
following the neighborhood one.
That
They would
portion
have
or
to be, 'cause it's the
whatever.
only,
Yes,
only
it'd
other
have to be.
project that there is.
Yeah.
is
So do we
what's-
have to only, do we have to subtract out what we would need if that alternate was needed? to use the balance on our project or whichever one we,
Well, what Stacy said too is if you are gonna take 15 or 20%, you're 21,600. If you say you're gonna appropriate that to the NRG,
yeah.
then if that one is not funded, then say Fostoria, we're gonna contribute 21,600 to your
To this.
restroom project.
Okay, and then that balance we can put towards the elevator project if that's the direction we want to go.
Right.
That makes sense to me.
Okay.
And then Fostoria needs to agree or somehow, you know, because their dollar amount was different, so, I mean, it was a little higher than that.
So, okay, 129,600. No, I didn't do that right. That added instead of subtracted. Okay, I don't know what this calculator is. It's giving me the same answer. So I do something after that head, whatever it comes up to be.
What are you trying to calculate, the difference?
The difference,
between-
what we have left. How come this isn't working?
You just take
Try
that.
it. It's not working.
108 minus 21,000?
Yeah, so it's 80.
87.
It's 80s, I was just trying to make sure I had it right. Yeah. What's it not? Well, it's 21.6, so, right?
21.6 is
21.6.
20%.
Yeah.
15% is 16.2, so
86.4.
anywhere between 15 to 20% is what the state likes to see committed from the allocation program toward the competitive.
It's gonna leave us a lot to make up for on the elevator, but we have no choice.
It doesn't seem like it.
Can you save the funds up for a couple of years? Or do you gotta use them in that year?
The county does have the option of holding back and saving and not applying for CDBG money this year, and then next year having that available along with next year's allocation amount, whatever it is. But then if for some reason the program goes away before next year, you lose this year's money and then next year's isn't available. So that's the only risk you have. So
If
you don't
we-
have any guarantees.
If we
Yeah.
applied the 86 toward the elevator this year and started the project, could we take some of CDBG next year and put toward the same project?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. That's,
So
We start the elevator project, put this 86 towards it, and next year get our allocation. Could we put another 40 toward it next year out
I
of that
thought the
money?
project had to be done.
yeah,
Had to.
you have to have it complete within the grant program period. So we would have to ask for an extension, but then you can't combine it with next year's
Can't
grant too.
combine, okay, that's what I was wondering, if we could combine it.
Mhm. But again, you do have the option to hold off this year, don't apply for anything, save it up for next year, and then, you know, last year your amount was 114,000, this year it's 108. I don't know what next year is gonna be, it typically drops, but you never know.
But we wouldn't have
And
You
but-
double.
wouldn't- You're not guaranteed, right, you probably won't have double the amount, but they're not gonna, I don't believe that the state's gonna reduce more than they normally would just because you held back a year,
Yeah.
so. And we don't have to have the final decision made until, before we submit the application, I just need to have a resolution with all the projects laid out. So that's why I came today, was to talk to you, you know, an open session about it, and then, move forward from there.
So if we had a resolution naming these two projects, and then 2 weeks from now, we decided to go a different way, we could change it?
I would recommend just holding off until sometime in June and doing the resolution once we've made a final decision. I wouldn't wanna do a resolution, then have to rescind or change, or, you know, it's just kinda,
Do you have a contact with this elevator company, this?
yeah.
They could
you said
come and
it-
take a
Yeah,
look at
it just seems high.
Oh, it does, it seems
It just
ridiculous.
seems.
Would, and
I-
if we went ahead with this, we probably couldn't change the whole specs if we said, well, by the way, we're
No,
still, we're
and
gonna apply the
that's-
money, but we're doing a different elevator structure, we can't do that.
Well, you could change it, but you need to have it, then it becomes an amendment, depending on how much of a change it is, and the state has to look at it, and they don't like to approve amendments, although they did approve one just this year for Bloomville, which is why I was here at your last meeting to talk about that. So, my recommendation is to decide that before we do it. And know that, so I can make contacts to find out more about that. I can even have the architect, the engineer that looked at it, contact them to see what they would say about changing it out completely. I think it's gonna be more expensive than that, but I don't know that. I'm not an engineer, so.
I guess my recommendation is we think about the 20% for Fostoria for that matching NRG, which is what they want. Put the 86.4 toward the elevator. But before we actually pass the resolution, have somebody else look at that elevator from this hydraulic company. And
Just see if there is a substantially less cost.
yeah, see what they think of it.
And even if they came in comparable, what's the maintenance on, is that system of, maintenance, projected to be cheaper than another cable system?
You had a company or something, you had a name of a company?
Yeah, Canton Elevator.
Canton Elevator. Let's
Yeah,
contact
and what they
Canton
do
Elevator.
is, they strictly are in, again, hotels. Gotta be less than 4 floors, and all it is a hydraulic ramp. And it just raises it up and down, and everything else is exactly. They're in all the Hamptons and Holiday Inns, but they can't go on high skyscrapers, because it can only go maximum of 3 or 4 floors, which is fine for us, pardon?
Whatever their annual reach, yeah.
Yeah,
It makes it.
yeah.
Could you contact Canton Elevator, just have them look at it and see if maybe
Just
they
go
can give us
ballpark.
give us
Yeah.
a different
Yeah.
Yep, I
estimate?
can do that.
Because that would substantially affect our decision here. If we found we could get it for 150,000, 175,000, then that too.
You also, have you been in the elevator shaft in the CSB? That area is quite small, I believe. I don't know what the requirements are for a hydraulic
idea.
to bring it up. So that could become a bigger issue. I don't know, but I'll contact them.
Yeah,
And
because
then I'll-
all, see, in a typical, the old fashioned elevators, all the mechanics are up top with pulleys.
yes.
In a hydraulic elevator, they're all in the bottom, and it's just,
Okay.
Okay.
just like a hydraulic cylinder on
Yeah.
a dump truck or whatever.
They got that demon drop at Cedar Point, which is one of those that shoots you.
Do that too.
They took that out.
They took that out.
Demon drop.
What'd they do with it? Maybe we can get a cheap deal on it.
We could
Some probably
we could
consider our
charge
elevator
admission
to
for
demon
it.
drop already. Yeah.
We'll take a ride in our elevator.
Okay. Do you want me to come back to the next meeting then with that information? Is that
Whenever you
next
get
week?
it,
Whenever you get it.
Yeah, we have,
And
we
that
have
we still
Tuesday
obviously
and Thursday next
Keep your
week,
things
so.
moving.
yeah,
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 whenever
let's try
you
to get
get
to
it,
next
but
week.
stay within your time frame.
Right,
We
right.
don't wanna lose.
yes, no. Okay.
So
I
either
will do
Tuesday or
that.
Friday, or
Okay.
Tuesday or Thursday.
I'll make some calls and I'll get back with you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
And Jill, get with me if you need that number.
Okay.
We'll flip back over and get back to our, just follow the agenda here with the old business. And I've got down the new Regal sewer, just a quick update. I don't have my notes all typed up on this, but we've had a couple of meetings on the new Regal. One was the one we had on the 8th that included with Northwestern Water and Sewer District, kind of looking over things that we felt, I don't know if we've already reported on that here or not, but they basically kind of assured us, Mark was at that meeting, that, we are in kind of tracking it, looking at it the best way they would look at it as well. Just if anything else, it was reassuring to everybody that, we haven't missed something major, and what we possibly could do and what might be the best solution with that. Then we had the meeting that was on the 19th, and this was the one with the folks from the Ohio EPA. We're here for that meeting, two of them. Mayor Bullion again, he also brought Dean Keller from the bank there in New Rigo, and then Chase Eikenberry was here from the governor's office as a representative. Let's see, who else was here? We've got down Mike, I think who Mike was. Oh, Mike was the finance guy with Ohio EPA. But anyway, we, again, kind of talked through the whole thing. Got a couple of potential things to at least look into, that we're gonna have to have some follow-up meetings. They gave me the name of a gentleman with the EPA, Dave Douglas, to talk to, with USDA. Don't know if there's gonna be any possibilities, they're looking at trying to do something with forgiving some things for New Regal.
Okay.
And I don't know if there's any possibilities of that happening or not, but they suggested, and Chase suggested that, that I go through between Jordan, Congressman Jordan's office and Rob Portman or Senator Portman or Brown,
Okay.
and talk to them a little bit before I try to make that reach out to USDA. So that's kind of where that's at this moment, and this was from the meeting we had last week, so, don't know if there's any, they have a hardship loan program, EPA does, but it's limited, and so they don't know if there's anything there they can do. I guess whether the USDA would do anything kind of loan forgiveness or not, that's the option to talk to. They said we already had, the county got a reduction when we made the agreement, and we weren't here, but you were here then, but made the agreement. We got a little bit of a reduction on that debt, or that loan percentage then.
Whenever New Regal was paying, we got a little cheaper rate. I don't know, it was a 0.5% or something.
Yeah, a little bit cheaper rate, and then, so. We will continue, but we'll at least make those efforts to see where we can get with it. But one idea Chase had as well was possibly, in working with the school, if there's anything they wanted to get behind with, they have the eligibility for LGIF money. This would be putting them back on their own, with their own stuff though. See, they had their own system, and it was a lot cheaper for them than what it is now. And they abandoned that system to be part of this, and like I said, now it's costing them a lot more money, so. That's the update, what we know at the moment.
Okay, we've not heard anything from RCAP yet.
No,
They were thinking out of the box stuff and haven't heard back from them.
Yeah.
yet. Okay,
yeah. So.
thank you.
Facility Dude, which is the name of the company. And we did the webinar, I guess we could say, or tutorial, or whatever it was. Nikki and Stacy and I did last week about this program. And this is the one, Fred, you talked, Sandusky County is utilizing. And now that Corsa is willing to fund 75% of that if we went this route because of its long-term cost-saving measures, because of overall management of your facilities, obviously saving on cost on the preventative side instead of the reactive side, being our scenario. So I don't know if you've got some numbers and things like that to talk about.
I do. They gave us some prices. The total cost would have been $8,600. Corsa is doing the 75%, which is about $6,400. Our initial investment would be $2,100, a little over $2,100, and our annual renewal amount is $1,365.
What was the annual renewal?
Annual is $1,365. Corsa will be covering 75%.
Has anybody contacted Sandusky County?
We had talked to Sandusky County.
I thought we did last year.
Teresa, is that her name, Teresa?
Is it
Yeah,
working there?
she loves it. She absolutely loves it. Yep, it's a huge time saver. It can do all the work orders. All the elected officials and department heads can have a login and instantly see where their work order is in the process. It can track, say we've got a project going on at Job and Family Services, it can track the hours that maintenance is working on it, it can track the supplies that they're working on, and even create an invoice for us for Job and Family, since they're non-general, we would usually charge them back for that project. So this software does it for us. It will eliminate duplicate data entries, because right now the departments are typing it in and then they send it up to Nikki, and Nikki's having to retype it in and put it in a spreadsheet. To do reports from a spreadsheet are possible, but it's difficult to pull from different spreadsheets. This does it for you, and it allows you to pull any kind of report you want to see per building, per project, per salaries, per maintenance worker. It'll send emails to each department, whoever needs the email. It had a lot of time savings for, Nikki alone, just putting in all these work orders and trying to get some sort of report from them. So maintenance could even, next time we upgraded their phones, they have an app so they can do it all on their phones, if they would like to.
The, there was no license, no limit in terms of how many people, how many computers and that kind of stuff, so we'd have to figure those things out. I was pleased to hear, it sounds like their support, 24/7. Anytime we would need, a live person, online chat, or email questions, whatever, they're available to help people through it. So I think that would, soften that learning curve to make this, I think you could see the returns on it pretty quickly. But everything from the minor stuff to programming in to make sure anything maintenance looks at, or whomever, but it could fall under there, is from your fire extinguishers, your batteries and a smoke detector, to flushing out whatever system here, or any and all maintenance related things could be part of, incorporated into that. Lake County was another neighboring county. I didn't specifically ask them what else, and they knew we were aware of Sandusky County, but I heard him mention Lake County is another county in the area that I know that utilizes it. I'm sure there's more. I think there are 26 counties. Is that what he said?
Yep.
That utilize it now. So
again, 8,700 of that course is gonna pay 25% of it, so we got.
75%.
Horses do it 75%.
Okay, they're gonna pay, so we gotta pay 25% of that, so 870, 1,600, $2,000 roughly we have to pay, and it has a yearly maintenance cost of 1,300. So our first year outlay is gonna be about $3,500.
2,152 is what he said.
That's
So
the
that ain't-
25% plus the first year's maintenance?
No.
The renewal is included in that.
Is-
So we won't pay a renewal until next year.
Yeah, then you'd have just that annual fee, that $1,365.
So if we decide in year 3, we don't like it, it just doesn't have any merit, we can't use it, we're out the $2,100 and we're out whatever we paid that year for maintenance. So we find after the first year, it just doesn't work, we're out $2,100.
Right.
And Sandusky County loves it.
They do, yep. And they said that they have not increased their fees on a current customer. They'll adjust fees for new customers coming in, but they have yet in their, 13 years, have ever increased the fees for the maintenance.
Yeah, we asked.
Okay, let me
It's
ask
based
that.
on square footage.
Yeah,
Yes,
how
they
would
do.
this
They
be
look at
handled,
your
like this
facilities.
issue we're having right now at the RTA building with, in the auditor's department? We've all got the email this morning where
Yep.
the heating system, how would a transaction like that work?
She would log on, it's a web-based log-on system. She would log on and we would direct it either to Nikki and we could even set it up so, say Earl's involved right now, it goes to Nikki and it also sends it to Earl saying, we still have a problem. And we can set it up so when an elected official sends it, even you three get to see all the work orders that are going out. Once the work order would start, it would update every time Earl would come in and it would check in and it would send her an email every time that something's been done. Because I know now it's kind of an issue with, he gets in and out of the building and she don't know, whereas we'll be able to track this and put it in the system when he's in and out and what he's actually done.
And when they look at it, the maintenance department looks at it and sees what work orders or things they're gonna do as they outline their course of action for the day or week or whatever. They also will then put back in their progress and probably at each day, what, if it's completed and or where the project stands, so somebody can see that. So there's also the ability to put, produce reports of how long is it taking work orders to get complete. And basing on the types of work orders and things like that. So it becomes a performance measure tool as well, pretty quickly.
Seems to me a worthwhile measure. And if we decide, I hate to add on new things. This is where my Jeff Wagner hat comes in.
Yeah.
All we're doing is we're just adding on and adding on. And find out if it doesn't do any good,
Right.
then we do away with it. But the consequences are not, major. If we had to invest in the whole thing and it was a question mark, then I would maybe feel a little differently. But since course is ending up here, I make a recommendation that we We give it a shot.
Yeah, you can wear my hat anytime you want. The only other thing I would question is, we want to limit just who can enter into this. We don't want
Correct.
every
Right.
employee in the system being able to say, well,
Yeah.
Right.
my desk is cracked and, you know, this and
Yeah.
that. We want just department heads, I think.
Yeah, that's what Holly and I talked
Yeah, we were
about,
talking about
maybe
that. We'd have to
the
figure
elected
that out.
official and one department head
Okay.
be able, because we don't want everybody telling us we get 40.
My chair squeaks.
Yeah.
and-
Right.
It'll show
So-
you too, if, like, say Stacy logged in and put in a work order because our bathroom sink was leaking.
Mhm.
And I didn't know that she had put that in, so I seen it too, and I went to put it in, it'll show you the work orders that are
Duplicated.
duplicated for that
Okay.
department.
Because once you code the building in, which you pick the building,
Right.
it's then gonna bring up the list for that.
Yeah, let all the auditors people go to Julie and say the sink
Yep.
isn't working, and then she can,
Right.
Put it in, yes. Yep.
Yeah.
okay, that's good with me.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, I think that, like I said, I think it easily would take care of the time. We'll have the savings from the time and duplication of anything going on now, as well as more efficiency with it.
And I think it'll help with the whole air filter situation with different departments, how they want their air filters changed all the time. This'll be a reminder to the guys that, hey, it was 6 months ago that you changed so-and-so's air filters, so they need changed again.
Okay.
All right. Do you have a resolution then prepared if we wanted to move on it, so they can
Yes.
just, because it sounds like it's pretty simple. I mean,
Yep.
we don't have to wait on anything, it's just a matter of,
Yep. Signing the contract, getting
and
them
and
going.
then setting a date with them to
Mm-hmm.
be ready to do the training and
Yep.
move on. Okay.
I can read it when we go through the rest of them.
Okay. We can do that. EMS, still with us, Ken?
I'm still here.
All right, give us a bit of an update on,
Well, I know what you've been reading in the papers.
reading in
is
the
that
papers,
There's
yeah.
a lot of folks that are discussing the issues that we've brought up over the past 6 months or so. And that's good. Attica, Venice, and Reed have agreed to create the Attica, Venice, and Reed Ambulance District, and that's gonna happen, I think it's, according to the coordinator over there, it's supposed to happen by July 1st. It may happen sooner than that. And I think they're gonna mirror their fire board, because they already have an AVR fire board. So it's gonna be very similar to that. I don't know if it'll be the same members, but it'll be a person from Attica, Venice, and Reed Township, and they'll be doing exactly as we suggested, and that's a positive thing. And I know the NBS, which is New Riddle, Big Springs, and Seneca Townships, they're doing the same thing. I'm not exactly sure where they are in the process, but I spoke with the coordinator over there on Tuesday, and that's well in the works. So I think we've made some real progress with what we're trying to get accomplished. And really, I think to not blur the lines of what we're trying to get accomplished, I think there's still some people that are a little confused. And I've got some good input from the guys out in the townships that basically say, and I think I mentioned this in my discussion with you, is the lines are so blurry now because we've had generational change from when the original agreement was signed in 78, 79, that these township officials and elected officials and village officials, to no fault of their own, have no idea that they were responsible for anything to do with EMS. They just, over the years, it was just taken care of, and they just didn't realize that they were really intended to be involved. And interestingly enough, if you look at it, once you sign an agreement and everything starts working the way it's supposed to, you could very easily forget that what you ever did to make that happen. So 35 years plus, in some cases, there's no reason, or no wonder they forgot, because we haven't been reminding them. So I think some of them, in some of the, maybe, I don't know what you call it, negative press or whatever we've been getting, that they think that we're dumping this on them. It's not. I think we're just bringing it back up, and nobody has done that in so long that it's no wonder they thought that. And I think where our next move is to try and get a report back from the village and townships that haven't done anything, or we don't know what they're doing, you know. So I think, and I know I talked to you, Holly, about that, as far as we requested a position report, essentially. What's your position on this? Are you discussing it? Are you moving forward? Are you confused and need more information? And basically, we need them to let us know how they plan to provide the manpower for our ambulances. The good news is, though, with AVR doing what they're doing, NBS doing what they're doing, Bascom is still doing extremely well. So where we're lacking the information is from the Bettsville, Liberty area. Also from, I know Republic, the newspaper article that mentioned Scipio and EMS, Scipio and Republic EMS, they're going to be reaching out to this office for more information.
And
I
they've
don't know
done
if they
that.
have done that.
They've done that. They've sent the request in. Did you get that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, and I'm, well, like I said, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I realize that the reason you hire an EMS director is to be a subject matter expert on that. And so I'd be more than happy to answer any questions, go to any meetings. But I've, in some areas, I'm getting a lot of information. In other areas, it's like crickets. They're not saying they need something, they're not saying they don't need anything, I don't know what's going on. So obviously, I think everybody's read the paper about what's happening in Adams Township and Green Springs. They're considering a private ambulance. And I'm really trying to, you know, I have a lot of friends that work in private EMS, and I'm not trying to say anything negative about private EMS, but I think we do what we do, community-based EMS, fits better in this community. Simply because of the expense, simply because of having an ambulance that's available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that has no other mission other than to provide you with 911 ambulance service when you need it. Not to be, not that this is not important, but transporting patients to and from nursing homes, doctor's appointments, invalid trips, wheelchair vans, and things like that, that is the mission of private EMS. It's a very valid mission, it's very necessary. It goes towards the whole plan of care for the patient. However, our mission is to provide 911 coverage, and I don't think anybody in the world can do it any better than we can right here in our own community. And I'll stand by that. But that doesn't mean the elected officials don't have a choice. If they want to go pay somebody to do it half as well for twice as much, that's okay. And I don't mean to be, I'm cynically optimistic, I guess you might say, about that. I hope we're able to persuade them to continue with the community ambulance model.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. I got an email from Brad Bowerman, Scipio Township trustee. They would like to meet Scipio Township Republic Council, and some of the EMTs would like to meet with the commissioners. I was gonna bring it up today to see when, they said at our earliest convenience, and they would like to do it over in Republic. So if you guys are willing, when do we want to try and do that? First I suggested to Stacy that we try and move one of our meetings over there, but she wasn't cooperating at all. But the next three have something like we have to do here,
viewing
if people
and-
coming here,
yeah.
or viewings and things like that, where we go somewhere else. We could go to the township meeting. They meet Monday mornings.
At 8 o'clock.
8 AM. I'm open to.
Which Scipio meets at 8 in the morning?
Yes, on the first and third Monday.
But I think we should make ourselves available to them in some way, whether it's our meeting
June
going
2nd.
there.
I'm available.
June 2nd, that's Monday, yeah.
That's at, where's that at?
Republic.
Right at the Republic Town Hall?
Is it that,
No, actually, the township hall
Green
is
Springs
directly
Avenue.
behind where the old high school was, or where the old school was.
where we met, where we did the awards
Awards,
thing?
yes, sir.
Where you can't find it, it's right
Right,
back
yeah.
behind there?
It's a little challenging to find.
Yeah, that's
But
fine.
it's, where the, that's the Catholic church right there on 19. And then where the school was, directly behind that. Just a big grass field, and behind that, there's a little driveway back there.
Something Madison Street, 302 Madison.
Yeah, it is, 302 Madison.
It is, 302 Madison?
Yes, sir.
So you'll find out if that works. I mean, that
Double check that.
probably works for all three of us.
And what time is that?
8 AM.
8 a.m.
On Monday the 2nd?
Yeah, get your makeup on a little earlier that day.
You have to start early then. Yeah, I mean, I've got it down, and Stacy, if you'll let us know, if that works with them.
And the calendar says board of revisions for me, but that was moved to the 9th.
And Ken, you'll make it?
So-
Yeah, I'll be there.
So that
it says at our earliest convenience, I assume their meeting would be pretty convenient. I mean-
Yeah. I mean,
Now, are we gonna, is it gonna be Scipio, Republic?
You know, it's, well, it says, the Board of Scipio Township Trustees, the Mayor Republic, and the Town Council would like to meet with the
Okay.
commissioners.
Yeah. That's Scipio and Republic then.
And there are some that were a little less enthusiastic about the whole joint ambulance district, so it'd probably be a little more, you know, why can't the county just do it?
Well, that was the statement that was in the paper, but this morning is why can't the county?
Well, and
Just pick it
as,
up.
and as Ken has said, you know, we've heard various things from people in the paper, and so forth, that as long as they understand that we just want what's best for getting this service
Mhm.
in all of the communities county-wide, and we want to continue to be part of it, but we can't make those decisions for them. And I think we outlined pretty well on April 5th, that meeting, why we can't just run
Yeah.
it because
Right, the expense.
I
because
think
of
it's the old adage,
expense of
what
it.
runs better, big government or small government?
Yeah.
Small government runs
Well,
better in my
I
mind.
agree, and I think that the shared services that we have been providing for 35 years is still the way to go. But I think we have to get more buy-in from the local government. And that's what we're attempting to do. And the conversations that are going, not all of them are gonna go swimmingly. Sometimes there's gonna be people that don't understand or don't want that. The quote from one of the elected officials was that he would like the county to take care of it. But I think that understanding the economic view of this county as compared to our neighboring county to the north would have to be self-explanatory for that. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't have the tax base, we don't have the ability to apply a 0.25% sales tax permanent for EMS. And we don't have the ability to levy at the rate that they do. And even if we did, it would be cost prohibitive. My opinion, as it always has been, is community-based ambulance in this environment, a very rural environment, is much better served to the community. Because, you know, personally, as a volunteer for Bloomville, I know just about everybody that lives in my area. If you tell me who it is, their name, I can find their house for you. If I'm a private ambulance company and I come out of Cleveland or Toledo or wherever, and you say, go to Ken Major's house, they're not gonna know who that is. And we have collectively in Bloomville, for example, our 15 EMTs collectively have over 100 years of medical experience. Some of them nurses, some of them paramedics, some of them EMTs, all of them volunteers in the community. It's a great deal of pride to them. It's a great deal of comfort to the people in the community that we serve. If somebody shows up at your house and is gonna take care of you in your worst day of your life, I think you'd rather recognize them than not. That's how I feel about it.
I'm sorry.
And also June 2nd, just as an aside, that is also the day of the Green Springs meeting at that evening. And that is going to be another one that I'll be at, so 7 PM that night at Green
Do you want us there at that one too?
It wouldn't hurt if one of you or all of you could be there. I believe that may be a groundbreaking meeting as far as what they're gonna try and decide as far as their EMS future there. And I don't know that because I've been invited. I know that because of what I'm hearing from the local community. It is an open meeting, it's the village council meeting, I plan to be there. And I've heard that there will be press.
What time is that,
media,
Ken?
news media, the big press,
What time is that?
7 PM.
Speaking of Bloomville, they're going together with Bloom Township and form a,
We're meeting tonight, actually, at 8:30, at the Scipio Township Hall with the village council. And they are, I believe, I'll let you know more after tonight, but what I'm hearing, because my neighbor is the coordinator, they're working to come together, Bloom Township and Bloom Village, and form a joint district between those two entities. My recommendation of trying to come together with Scipio and Republic, I think has got merit, and I think they're gonna discuss it, but right now, we're gonna meet with Bloomville and Bloom Township to discuss whatever it is that they would like to do. And once again, I've tried to stay away from the money issue, because I don't think that that's something that needs to be discussed yet. I think it's something that once they meet, get together, find out what the issues are, and find out what their responsibilities towards EMS are, they'll see that compensating the volunteers is much better than paying someone else to do it.
If you have a joint ambulance district, the only job it is to look out for that
Right.
ambulance district. They'll drill down pretty quick, figure out what they need to do.
I believe
Yeah.
that's true, and I think a lot of them are concerned, they have concerns that they don't know anything about EMS. But, I think when most people get elected to be commissioners or township officials or village, they don't know anything about snowplows either. But you find out about it and you learn from the subject matter expert, who is your road guy, or your EMS guy, or your fire guy, and you learn enough to know that what's important and what's not. And I hope that that's what we're able to convey to the local elected officials, so that they get involved and help us find manpower to do what we do. Because I'd hate to see a community unprotected, and I don't want to ever do that. I think our system is beautiful, and it works very well as long as we have enough people to do it. People is the key. And there's no doubt that the county's invested, and we have not just quick and dirty numbers, we probably have about $2 million worth of assets out there that are out there. So we need people to be able to take advantage of that money that we spend.
And we had talked at a previous meeting about the draft new agreement that essentially just replaces the existing one. And I did take a crack at a draft letter, and Stacy and Ken have both looked at that. I think we're kind of undetermined exactly now if we, like I said, we're hearing from some, if we need to send anything out, or if we need to send just, hey, remind them we're here to answer questions and come to their meetings. We're not throwing them out and saying sink or swim.
Yeah.
We're saying, what ideas do you got? What do you need help with? Come back and forth. And that, the concern eventually will be that liability that we have if we do not know that they're working on something. If we don't know what their plans are, how they're trying to answer those two questions that eventually will get answered, but we can't really answer yet, is what's acceptable out of service and how the people and that stuff, but.
I think it's completely,
So you're advocating that we send out like a letter, trying to get a.
We talked before about doing that. I'm not sure now that we want to be so hard fast with saying, let's send it. And at the coordinators meeting the other day, one of the coordinators suggested some input. We shared the fact that we were looking at possibly getting everybody to sign a new agreement, regardless of what they were doing, just so we had something that was more current. Versus this one's disintegrating, let's replace it with something that's more current, and the new people's names are on it. But he thought they might look at that more of a threat, and I get that. So we don't, and that's the last thing we want. Again, all we want is to work together with everybody. This is the part we got in this puzzle, this is the part you have in this puzzle, how do we make it work?
I think it's completely appropriate to ask for their position
Yeah.
and see if they're doing anything. If they
Yeah.
have no interest in helping, then I think
I guess-
we need to make some decisions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we don't
and
want to get to
that-
August and not know what Bettsville is thinking. If they're saying, well, we're trying to meet, and if they have nothing more than we're trying to meet, or whatever their answer might be, we don't know what they're doing, we still have the liability that we have ambulance and investment sitting there, and
So again, my question is, are we advocating sending out a progress letter? What are you doing?
I think
Are you doing anything?
I want to bring it up, because we left it that we thought we should, but like I said, we've got the
I
draft.
very much think we should just, we're not telling them anything, just you tell us, what do you,
I
we had
think
this
that-
meeting
I
in
think
April.
requesting their position is probably the best thing to do. Just say, what are you up to? We're not hearing anything from you. And we've obviously heard a ton from Green Springs, AVR, NBS. Well, what is it that what is it officially? Please tell us officially what it is that you're doing as the board,
Yeah.
Because I'm hearing it from the rank and file. I'm not hearing it from the elected officials.
Can we construct a letter and send it out?
Yeah.
Not a threatening letter.
Well, so we've already got
Just
we've got a
what do
draft
you-
of one.
Where do you?
Yeah, we've
The
got one.
draft of one? Yeah, I'm absolutely in favor of that.
Yeah, I don't want to send out the contract saying, sign this contract or else, but I
No,
think
no.
just,
Yeah.
And we're not gonna stop
Yeah.
doing what we do until they throw us out. And I don't know who, if anybody, would ever do that.
and maybe once you get responses back, put something together and send it back to them. Okay, we see that NBS is doing this,
Right.
so that the others can see, well, there's progress over here in this corner, there's progress here.
I think that's important. I think it's important for all the elected officials to see that they're not alone in this we're all struggling the same way to try and find enough people to do what we do. And I realized that even though we tried to do it in a very logical, organized fashion through the recognition program and then the informational series that we've done, we're still very much in the information phase of this project, and there's a lot of information to get. And I learn something every day from the people I talk to, and I don't know all the answers. So I think that the elected officials need to come together, at least give a position to this board. If they know your position, I think. Maybe they don't, you know?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. But I think on the positive side, we've gotten a lot accomplished in a very short period of time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, good. Okay, we get added the IT meeting, which was part of the COG meeting. And Fred's on the committee, Stacy went to the meeting, and you have your.
Yes. I haven't been involved in the IT one very much, so I learned a lot yesterday. They've gotten through the study, they're on the grant, or the loan section part of it, so they were trying to do an estimate. What they were trying to do is bring in hardline fiber to the city. Basically, it would run between the city to NCOESC and somewhere out south of town. Getting fiber everywhere, which threw the costs up and over $500,000. It was quite high. So they had this new company come in with some new equipment, new technology. It's more of a, and I stopped to talk to Dan to have him help me understand what they were talking about. It's more of like a radio wave wireless system, creating a network between the buildings, and it cut the cost in half. This is that 10-year loan, 0% interest loan that the city, county would join together. Also, New Regal's been a part of this. They did say that this system could reach out to 100 kilometers, which I guess they said is about 60 miles. So it could almost reach to every corner of Seneca County if we decide to go that far. The system's rather big, allowing for privates to come in and get onto the network. It's completely secure, so anything the city does, we're not going to be able to see. Anything NCO does, we're not going to be able to see, and vice versa. It's just a shared network system. And I told them that we are currently trying to work with Time Warner because of our network, the HVAC system. So I want to talk to Earl and Kirk that's been working on the Time Warner network for us to take a look at this, and I want Jake to look at it, see if it sounds good. The mayor seemed absolutely positive. He's already set up a meeting to meet with his department heads on June 3rd, and they asked if we could do that, and I said, well, I want to at least get the information to my IT guy first, because I think the judges use him, so they're going to respect his opinion if he thinks this is a secure system. I think so. I'd like to get Jake and together first to look at this, but it sounded, sometimes it sounds too good to be true, but it sounded like a good system and not as expensive as trying to run hardwire to everywhere. And this could even stretch out to city of Fostoria, because they have some pretty good sized towers right in the middle. So, and Dan was suggesting that. And there may be even some money that Dan could use if he could incorporate some of his new 911 money, wireless 911 money that he's getting in. He may even be able to contribute on that. So there was a lot of information I got yesterday. So I'm not ready to be in such a hurry with Time Warner. Because this will be a lot less of a cost. This will be a, 10-year, 0% loan. And then basically what North Central's gonna do is offer that network out to some private businesses. So any funds they get for these businesses connecting will reduce the cost that the city and the county and North Central would pay for the service. It'd be defraying the cost.
And the charge is gonna be based on how much we're using it or need versus down to equal split.
No, yeah. They would,
usage.
yep,
Because I
yep,
mean, our usage is obviously larger than the cities. and-
right,
You said
yep.
400,000, is that what it is?
$222,476, this was their estimate. They didn't have quite all of our buildings included, but the original for the fiber was like 556,000.
So 222,000 is for this wireless system that will serve the city, county, and whoever else.
Yep, NCOESC would be building a tower by them. They were looking at possibly sheriff's tower, so Dan's gonna talk to the sheriff and look at the size of these antennas to see if it'll fit on our tower out there, because we don't even know if that's possible. It's a very good idea that they had, and then the city of Tiffin's gonna put a tower on their building, or they have one currently on their building.
222 was the total of everybody.
Yep, everybody's together.
Okay.
And I mean, in that big quote that we got when Time Warner was here was extremely high.
Yeah.
I know they were trying to dwindle it down and not give departments as high as what they, they gave us, but I haven't got a quote back from them, but
Who takes the lead on something like this? Does the ESC
yes.
enter into a contract and say, well, we're gonna use 10%, and somebody else uses 50%, and somebody uses 25%?
It kind of sounds that way. NCO would be the lead on this. Time Warner would come into downtown as it currently is, and then Bascom would run North Central, so we would be supporting Bascom on that end of town, and then that way, we always have a backup internet, so if something happens to Time Warner and downtown goes down, it can refeed through Bascom and come downtown, or vice versa, is the way I'm understanding it. Again, I'm not an expert, there's a lot of information, so that's why I want to get the experts involved to sit down and listen to this before necessarily bringing the elected officials in.
Right.
Because I got to be able to
Right,
understand
right,
it
right.
to help get the buy-in from our elected officials to see if this is something they'd be interested in, but
Yeah, okay, so you're just preliminary information right now?
yes, yep.
Now, back to the Time Warner, I was kind of excited about the telephone
Yes.
portion of that.
Yep.
Okay, the telephone portion can go ahead.
Yes,
And we can get rid of these AT&T lines.
Yes.
A little at a building by building and.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
yep.
And that was the other part of, was there any more on the phones?
The phones, I have a resolution, because we're gonna have a lot of little contracts coming in since we're slowly moving the contracts over, and instead of waiting for every board session, I have done a resolution, if you would authorize me to sign the contracts as they're coming in for Time Warner. You'll be able to review them and everything, I just wanna be able to keep things moving and allow him to go building to building. Jerry Williams, Telewire, he's doing some inventory for Time Warner to keep our costs down. So Jerry's doing that for us. So I've got a contract for our building right now to do our lines. That's the first one to be the guinea pig, I guess. But like I said, I have a resolution, if you would allow me to sign those to get it, to keep them moving as they're
Okay.
coming in.
Is that all the updates on old business then?
The only other one was the aggregation. Remember when Amy was in here talking about Big Springs Township and Clinton Township has passed the levy bringing the aggregation to their citizens? We got a contract back. Palmer did the same thing for them. They took it out for bids. And this IGS was the lowest bidder on this. We were gonna, and I think it's actually on the agenda, we're not gonna pass it today. The original contract she sent me, she grabbed the wrong one. So I just got the right one yesterday, and Rhonda, Derek's in trial, and Rhonda didn't have time to get it approved today, but I thought I'll bring it up anyway, since it was under there. The cost didn't move from the amount she gave me last week. It's like 6.99, I think is what she said the costs were, but this is where the citizens are gonna see the savings, because they're doing this aggregation, but because we were the governing, so that's what the aggregation was for. So then next Tuesday, hopefully, Derek will have time to look at the contract and we can get that rolling for Clinton and
Do the
Big
trustees
Springs.
need to take a look at that before we vote on it?
She showed that, yep, she
Okay.
showed that to them. She told them we were looking at it today, but
They-
we had the wrong contract, so.
They're the ones that decided to put it on the ballot,
Yes.
so they probably ought
Yep,
to look at it.
she talked to them before she came up to talk to me.
Okay, good.
So we'll bring that back up on Tuesday.
And we will proceed with the new business resolutions.
Okay, looks like I have bill vouchers, 56 and 57. I have an appropriation adjustment within the general fund, moving $4,000 from supplies to contract services. This is at the request of Board of Elections. She says it's due to the shift of some grant money to fund the county mandates. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriation for the Law Library Resources Board Fund 032, putting $10,360 into salaries, $150.22 into Medicare, $1,450.40 into PRS, for a total $11,960.62. They have, I think, chosen and offered a position for the law librarian, so hopefully we'll have a resolution for that once she's accepted and gets started, and she'll come in and meet us, so. I have a resolution authorizing a contract service agreement with Vanguard Sentinel Career Center for GED instruction services for the Seneca County Jail. I have a resolution reappointing Dee Frankert to the Mental Health and Recovery Services Board of Seneca, Sandusky, and Wyandotte counties. I think that was the IGS. We'll hold on to that one. I have the resolution authorizing contract with Facilities Dude for the maintenance management software. And I had one for the phones. A resolution authorizing Stacy Wilson, County Administrator, to sign the agreements with Time Warner Cable for phone services on behalf of the Seneca County Board of Commissioners pending prosecutor's approval.
So was there one or two that was pulled off?
Just the IGS,
Let me see.
Interstate Gas Supply.
You have 2 supplements over there. I think Tanya added.
I was gonna say, I've got a supplement for 030 and one for 066.
Yeah, she added them to the agenda yesterday.
No, she didn't bring them in. I don't have them in my pile.
All this signing, didn't have to think it's the beginning of the year.
You weren't kidding about the 3-hour meeting, were you?
Okay, I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the Public Assistance Fund, 030, putting $5,000 into supplies, $15,000 into equipment, $28,000 into contract services, $6,000 into advertising, $1,200 into HSA contributions, and $600 into public assistance, for a total of $55,800. And I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the Workforce Investment Act Fund 066, putting $75,000 into contract services, $15,000 into advertising, for a total of $90,000.
And that gets us all of them.
I move we approve.
Second it.
Moved and seconded, call the roll, please. If there's any
Commissioner Legner?
Yes.
Commissioner Zoller?
Yeah, yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes. All approved. Okay. Okay, that completes all of our new business, and do we still have for the purposes of personnel, need to go into executive session? Yes, we do. So we will take a motion to go into executive session for hiring, evaluate, whatever, personnel.
Yeah.
Run any public comment?
You guys good?
You wanna do?
Oh, we can do public comment first, yes, we can do that. Any public comment before we,
I'm curious, I remember a week or two ago, the request from the Attica Fair Board for more money.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time was mentioned, what has been allocated to the Seneca County Fair. And as I recall, there was some comment about before the budget shortfalls, that the Seneca County Fair had been receiving a larger allocation than they are now. Should that be taken into account in terms of the paving situation? Since the safety service building is used 11 and a half months of the year by county people and used part of 1 month of the year basically by the fair board, should that be taken into account in terms of funding the pavement thing?
I think that's what, I guess I won't speak for you, but I guess that's, I thought Jeff was referencing in that is if, it'd be nice to give him some money for this because we haven't been able to give him an annual amount like we used to. And so it'd be nice to make sure we contribute some, a decent amount towards this project. I don't know if that's what you were.
I'm a little more comfortable with one-time things, then you're not committed to long-term. Once somebody's got it, then they're entitled to it. And this way, it's a one-time thing, and I think it'd be a good feeling for everybody. I think it'd be the right thing to do.
So it's a way we can help, but again, we can't promise that it's gonna be that every year. And in fact, I have a call into Attica. I did call their Fair Board president, left him a message this morning to see, we had checked out the request on what they had asked for some monies, and was gonna ask them, is there a specific project that you have that maybe we can look at contributing monies towards, to kind of see where they're at, because it was really more of a general ask. And I think annually they've asked in the past, for more than the amount we give them. And both fairs were reduced from what they used to get, correct? As have since budget cut stuff. So we're gonna kind of reach out to them a little bit, see what they're maybe looking at. And maybe it's I guess my personal opinion is I feel a little more comfortable if it was a specific project, so that they apply towards that, like this one I guess is. And it's not an assumption that, we'll have that for operating and we'll probably get it every year, like Jeff was saying. That was just, that's my thoughts on it, but I don't know the answer because I haven't talked to him, so we're gonna see. That answer your question, or?
Yes, and I'm seeing it from the point that the county has some responsibility there because of the amount of usage.
Yeah, because they have, when they rent their buildings out and their
Even though
flea
it's
markets and stuff.
technically theirs.
But yes, they're not daily in and out. Farm Bureau and us are probably in and out on a more daily basis, obviously, than they are, but they do own the facilities and the grounds, but that's why we wanna make sure we do something to help out.
And we cover all their buildings.
We own our building and an easement in and out of it, but we need to do more than just that.
We do insure all their buildings as well.
We do the insurance, yeah. So, all right, anything else for public comment? Now I'll take a motion to go to executive session.
I move we go to executive session
Second it.
for promotion, demotion, whatever of a public employee. Compensation, whatever, yeah.
And we've got a motion in a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Whitmer?
Yes.
Commissioner Zoller?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Right back.
11:30, we'll go to executive session.